When you begin to realize that life is quite literally just a movie that you are living in and that you're the main character of, you begin to live it a little bit different. When I started to think and when I started to film my life a bit and I started to realize where I was comfortable, where I was uncomfortable, and even watching movies, I started to realize my life is a lot like a movie. And this is something that I chased for my whole life because I always liked the movie aspect of things, living a cinematic dream, walking and living as if you're the main character in this life. And truthfully, maybe I have the disorder of thinking that I'm the main character or I'm something very, very important in this life. But you're the most important person in your life. You truly are because you are the only person that you possibly could ever be, And as I live and as I learn and as I grow, I realize that this is playing out in a crazy, crazy way. We all have a destiny. We all have a place that we're supposed to end up. We all have a purpose in this life that of something that we're better at than anybody else. And in a way, it's sometimes hard to understand and sometimes hard to see yourself as the main character, as the star, as the vision in this movie that is has the camera crew following them around, has all these flashing lights on them to see what their next move is. But this is a perspective that when you grow and you start to live your life a little bit different. Your risks start to look bigger. You start to see that all things are happening for a reason and they're not just happening for no reason. And maybe it's my belief in God that makes me think this, or maybe it's my faith that all things are just going to turn out great in my life. But my life has really played out something like a movie, and your life is playing out like a movie, but you don't really maybe notice it as much. Um, Comeback stories are real, and we go through the times where we don't really realize that we're the main character, where we don't prioritize ourselves, when we don't have the right mentality to think, I'm that guy. I'm that girl. I'm the only person that this life is revolving around. And you just let life kind of beat you up a little bit. And I've let life beat me up in so many different ways. And I've let life take control of my life instead of me playing along with life, because life is throwing a million things at you. Life is completely and utterly trying to beat you up. It definitely is. And it's just a matter of if you want to roll with the punches or you just want to sit in the corner and get punched and punched and punched and beat up. Because you do have a choice. You do have a choice in which way that you perceive the way that life is going. When I started to believe and stopped asking the questions of why this, why that, why this, why that, and life started to be a symphony. Everything was falling and it became art in a way that it's not perfect and it's not completely and utterly beautiful, but the painting at the end will be beautiful. The first streak of paint, you can't really see where the canvas is going, but as you paint around it and this, that, and this, and it becomes a full product, you might not know what it is at the end. You might not be able to say, oh, this is the exact art that I was making. This is the exact thing that I was building. But it turns out better than you can imagine. Even if you paint nothing, art is all interpretation. And to somebody else, and maybe to yourself, your life ended up being a complete and utter masterpiece, a complete and utter Picasso, right? Because there's a beauty in this life. There's a beauty in the fuck ups. There's a beauty in the things that are going left, going right. And you have to see the beauty in it. You have to see the beauty in the canvas. Sometimes I go into a